Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing a Kickstarter preview of the game Tranquility. Now this is by a new company called Board Game Hub. They have created a game where you're going to be taking the ship and sailing it through a numbered grid. It is a cooperative card game for 1 to 5 players. And in this game, players must fill the sea with islands to guide the ship home before any player runs out of cards. Now, while you play this game actually is played in silence. So you're not actually able to communicate with your partner. You're just gonna have to hope that your minds together can figure out how to create the grid and safely guide our ship back home. This game is by James Emmerson, and the artist is Tristam Rossin, and it's a really beautifully done game. I'm excited to show this to you. So if you're excited to see if we can get our ship through the grid, then I need you to meet me at the co-op shop. I've gone ahead and set up our board. Now, they're based on cards, and in the Kickstarter, they may be making a neoprene mat that takes the place of these cards and creates a nice, beautiful area to play on. But we have these cards. Remember, this entire thing is a prototype. Some of this may change as the Kickstarter progresses. So we've gone ahead and created our outline just like it shows in this card. And also in the card, it shows that we have to also play a finish card and a start card. So I'll explain those as we play. Now this game also comes with yet another way of setting up the game. So there's multiple ways to do it. And on top of that, on the back here, it says solo play. So there are ways to play this game solo as well as cooperatively. So there's many different ways to actually get this game to the table. Now that we've done that, we're gonna take our deck of 80 cards. So we've got 80 cards in here, and we're gonna go ahead and look through them. Aren't they beautiful? These cards look so great. Oh, I love the art in these cards. Every card looks so cool. I love how they have a day and a night side. I'm really impressed by the art in this game. So we're gonna go ahead and take our 80 cards and we're gonna go ahead and add to them a finish card. There are 5 finish cards. You have to have 5 of these in here. And in order to win the game, you have to play that finish card once your grid is completed. And also you have to play a start card too. And I'll explain how that works in a while. So we're gonna take our 80 cards. Well, actually they're 85 now because I've added the finish cards to them. And we're gonna divide them, we're gonna deal them out to all the players until every player has an equal size deck. So now that our characters have their deck, we're going to go ahead and each player, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is going to take 5 cards from that deck. So that player's got 5 cards, and this player's also going to gain 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there we go. Our players both have 5 cards. Now after we take our 5 cards out, each deck is going to gain a start card. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle our start card into each of our players' decks, and then we're going to go ahead and start the game. So there's our deck for this character. They're all nice and shuffled. And now we're going to have to shuffle this one as well. So now that our decks are shuffled and ready to go, we're going to look at our cards. Now remember, this game has to be played in silence. And our goal is to create a numerical grid from the lowest to the highest without being able to the ways you can lose. You can lose by either one, not being able to discard a card from your hand or legally be able to play a card. So we're going to go ahead and see how we do here. So I've got a lot of cards that are very close to the numbers I'm looking for. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to start with this 9. I'm going to put this 9 right here. I think that's going to be a good place to put it. Now, of course, I can't talk, so I don't know what my partner over here has. We're going to look at their cards, and they've got some cards here too. Now, of course, we're going to finish card. Our compatriot has seen that we've played a 9 card. So they're thinking most likely that we've got a lot of lower number cards. Now, you can play a card anywhere in this grid, but of course, it has to abide by a few rules. One, you have to play them in numerical order from the lowest to the highest. So I couldn't put a 63 here. That doesn't make any sense at all. So we're going to go ahead, and I think this player is going to play, he's going to play a 29 card, and we're going to put it let's put it right here. Let's see how that goes. All right, and now that I've played my card, I have to draw up to 5 after I play my card. Now, of course, I forgot to do that for this player. I apologize. So this player is going to draw his 1 card, and he has a new card. So then he's going to go ahead and play yet another card. Now he's got a 12. He's going to play that one right here. And now, if you play a card next to another card, you have to discard the difference between those 2 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and discard 9, 10, 11, 12. I have to discard 3 cards. So maybe that 12 wasn't a good one to play. We're going to hold that 12 because I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to play my 13 right here. Yes, that's right. Now, of course, I have all the knowledge in the world because I know what this person has. Normally, I wouldn't know what they have, and maybe it wouldn't be wise to play the 13 there. Maybe they might play like an 11 here, and all of a sudden my 12 would be worthless then. But I've played my card. I'm now going to draw back up to 5 cards. So I've got my 5 cards. We're going to move over to this player. This player, again, looks at their cards. They have a 24. They're going to play their 24 maybe right here, because there's only 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. There's 5 cards in between. Actually, that's not too good. We're going to put the 24 there. I've already probably started off in bad shape here. So now I have to go ahead and draw up to 5 cards. So we're going to put, they've got yet another card. Moving over to this player, this is where my trick is going to come in. I'm going to play my 12. Now I can play my 12 right here. And I am going to be able to have to discard cards equal to the lowest difference. So a 12 minus 9 is actually what? 3? 9, 10, 11, 12? Yep, that's 3. Real good with math. So we got 3, but this one's only 1. So I only have to discard 1 card, and I'm going to discard my 76 card because I don't know if we're ever even going to get that high. So but I have to discard cards face down. That's the other scary part about this game. You don't know what the other person is discarding. So now I'm back up to another set of 5. We're going to move over to this player. And you're going to go back and forth like this until you've either created your grid or you have found not legally be able to play a card or discard a card. We're going to play 51. We're going to play like right up here. That's where we're going to play 51. All right, we're going to draw another card. Here we go. We got 57. He's got a lot of 50s. All right, we're going to move over to here. And now this player is going to play a card. He's going to play 16. Again, maybe I can play, oh, I can't play the 16 here because I have a 24. And that's going to be too high. I can't play that next to each other. 16, 24, 25, 6, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have 8, 7 cards to discard. So we're going to have to hold on to that one. Instead, we're going to play our 15 right here. There we go. So we've got a 15 right there. And we're going to draw a card. So we're back up to this many cards. Now, of course, these two are still within 2. So I believe I still have to discard 2 cards because these two have a difference of 2. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know. But I believe that's how this works. So I'm just going to discard, I see 51 up there, so I'm going to keep the 50 card. We're going to discard 37. We're going to discard, let's discard 45. Like I said, I think this is all going in the wrong direction real fast. You can easily snowball yourself out of control in this game pretty quick. We're going to draw 2 cards, 1, 2, and we're going to move on to our next player. And let's see how they're doing. They, like I said, have some pretty higher numbers up here. So he's got a 54. So I'll play it right next to the 51 just to play it. And now we're going to discard 3 cards. Now I'm going to discard this start card, this finish card, because I know there's 5 in the decks somewhere. Now, of course, you might want to keep track of what you're discarding, because if you discard at least 3, you start discarding finish cards, and you don't have any more in your deck, and they think you do, you might get the whole grid created and not be able to play your finish card at the end. So we need to draw 4 cards. So we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, I got my start card. Good. I can show you how that card works. That's a very interesting card. So we've got our 5 cards here, and we're going to move on to our other player. Our other player has not very much they can do, but they can play this 50 card. So we're going to play the 50 up here next to 51. We're only going to have to discard 1 card. We're going to discard, I think we're going to discard our 16 because we know we can't play that here because I don't have enough space in between those cards. I actually don't know how I'm going to bridge that gap. I don't think I can legally. I think I've already lost the game. But we're going to go ahead and keep playing so I can show you exactly how this game works. So they're back up to 5 cards. Now, this player has their 5 cards. Only have 3. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I think I picked up the discard pile. So this player has his 5 cards. And one of them is that start card, which is a really important card to learn how to play. We're going to play, anybody can play their start card. And so once we play the start card, this is the only part of the game that you can talk. So I have now playing my start card, both characters or everybody at the table now can talk, but the only thing they can talk about is discarding cards, because once their start card is played, collectively you have to discard 8 cards. So again, not knowing what anybody has, or it makes it really tough. Now in a 2-player game, you also get to draw 2 cards from your draw pile before you choose what 8 cards you want to discard. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my 2 cards here. There we go. And we've got all these cards. So this player over here could just say, you know what? I'm looking at the board and I think I'm going to discard this one and this one, let's say. Okay, so he says, I'm going to discard 2 cards. And the other player goes, 2? That's all you can discard? That means I've got to discard, what, 6 cards? I don't think I can do that because some of my cards are really good. You go, I can discard, oh, I'll discard these 4, and then that brings us to 6. Is there any way you can discard any more cards? And the guy kind of goes, all right, well, maybe I can discard these 2 cards. Now I've gotten 8 cards, 2, 4, 6, 8. Now, of course, we don't know what these cards are. We're discarding them blind to the other player. So now that everybody's done that, we're going to draw back up to our 5 cards, and we're going to go back over to our other player's turn. So now we have 2 here, so 3, 4, 5. Now again, you're going to continue playing as long as you can make legal plays where you can put a card next to another card and be able to discard the amount of cards that would be the difference of it. Or at any point, you have a bunch of cards you don't like. Another move you can make instead of playing a card is discarding 2 cards and drawing 2 more. That's your other play. Now, of course, once you've done that, it goes over to the other player's turn. Now, I know I went a little bit out of turn there because this person's actually the one that played the start card. It should have been his turn, but I'm just demonstrating parts of this game. So now I've got an 8. Well, this 8 might be pretty good down here. I could play the 8 on that 9. Then I only have to discard 1 card. Let's go ahead and discard this 30 card. And we'll go ahead and discard that and grab 2 more cards. So as you can see, that's how this game is played. You're going to go back and forth playing cards until the entire grid is finished. Complete, and then you're going to play your finish card. Somebody hopefully has held on to a finish card going into the end of this game. Now, of course, if this wasn't hard enough, they've added some expansions into this game, and I want to talk about them because it really brings a lot more to this game. First off, it comes with this spiky Craig rock card. Now, this card is going to be played along the side here, and as it goes, wherever it's played, it can only be played where there is actually empty spaces. And once it's in a place where there's an empty space and it's somebody's turn, so say it's his turn, he is not going to be able to play on these areas. But he could play down here. So I'm going to go ahead and play a 3 card there. Once I play a card, I'm going to draw back up, and then I have to move this to another area. So say I move it up here, and this our person down here goes, wait a minute, that's where I was going to play a card? Oh, I had a 55 I was going to play. Well, now that kind of shuts them down up there, so I have to play a different card. We're going to play a 60 card right up there. And so now we're going to draw yet another card. And then we're back up to 5. And then they would move the Craig, or the Rocky Craig card as well. So that's one of the expansions. Some of the other expansions they have are these monster expansions. They're kind of like Kraken cards. They're these monsters, and they're going to be in your deck, and you might draw into them. So for example, say this person, instead of drawing this 6 card, well, let's keep the 6 card. That's actually a pretty good card. We're going to the 66 card. I've drawn this monster card. All right, now in order to win the game, all the monster cards have to be out of players' hands. It doesn't mean they could still be in the deck, but they have to be out of the player's hands. They can't be, if I go to play a finish card and I had one of these monster cards, I'd have to say, you know, I can't do that. I got a monster card, we got to deal with this. And the way you get rid of the monster cards is you play them on top of previously played cards. So for example, I could play it on top of this 24 card. And then once it's played on top of the 24 card, not only is it discarded, but so is the 24 card, meaning that you've now created a gap in that area that might not be filled because some of the cards that would take the place of it might have already been discarded by your partners because they thought it was a safe place right there. So the monster cards can actually add an interesting element to the way this game is played. The final expansion they have are storm cards. There's 3 of them. There's a yellow storm, an orange storm, and a purple storm. And here's what they look like. So each one of these storms will do something different to the players as they play. The yellow storm card, if drawn out of your deck, goes right in front of you, and that instantly brings your hand size down to 3. So I'd have to automatically go down to 3 cards, and I can't gain any more than 3 cards when it comes to drawing back to my hand. Now, why does that make it hard? Well, 1, you only have 3 cards, and 2, if you're trying to span a gap, like say I have a 26 and I want to play a 29, I can't because I don't have 3 cards, which is the difference here to be able to play. So I can't play my 26 card there. I'd have to play something else. So that is what the yellow storm card does. It brings you to 3, and your max can only be 3 until that storm is removed. The next one is this purple storm. The purple storm is similar to the Rocky Craig, where you're going to put it in a row that has at least 1 empty space. Now, of course, once this is played, though, you cannot play a card in that row until this storm is removed. And I'll talk about how you remove storms in just a minute. So this is a pretty bad storm, because if you don't have a way of getting rid of it, that thing can just mess you up and pretty much lose you the game instantly. Because no matter how hard you try to create your grid, if you can't remove this card, you'll never be able to play in this place, so you can't actually win. The final storm is our orange storm card, and that again is going to be placed next to the player that drew it. And of course, whenever you draw a storm card, that storm card has to be played immediately. I know the monster cards, I said you can play them whenever, but the orange, yellow, and purple storm have to be played immediately when they're drawn. Now, what that does for you is that you're now looking at your hand of 5 cards. You get to keep all 5 with your orange storm. That's the good news. The bad news is the only place you can play a card is next to an already played card. You can no longer just play a card in the middle of the row here. I can't just play a 67 right here because it's not adjacent to another card. So I have to make sure that I'm playing a card adjacent. So I could play the 55 to here. That's perfectly legal with an orange storm card out. And then I could discard a card. I'll discard this 38 and then pick up another card. So you're still going to be gaining. Oh, I have to pick up 2. I forgot I had to discard 1. So we picked up 2 cards. We have our 5 cards. So those are what the 3 storm cards can do to you. Now, how do you get rid of those storm cards, you ask? That's a great question. We've got compasses. Yes, we've got these compass cards. These compass cards you can play on storms to remove the storm from the game. There's only 3 ways you can gain a compass card. 1 is when the start card is played, you gain a compass card. 2, you can discard your entire hand to get a compass card. And that even goes for the person with the yellow storm card. So only having 3 cards to discard isn't maybe the end of the world to be able to grab a compass card to get rid of your yellow storm. That's one way to do it. Now, of course, the other way you can gain a compass card is kind of tough to do. You have to create a row that is numerically sequential. So I could play a 49, 50, 51. This has to be 52, 53, and 54. If you can do that, you can gain a compass card that, again, you can play on one of the storms to get rid of the storm. And those are the 3 different expansions that come with this game. So the base game of 1 to 80 cards, if that's not hard enough, they also come with all these expansions that make it even more challenging. This game has a lot of replayability, and it's so much fun. Now, my wife and I have been playing this game quite a bit, and we've really enjoyed it. We've even tried with some of these expansions. We even had a point where we took our Rocky Craig card, and I actually played a card and then moved it right to the place where she was planning to play a card. It was actually pretty funny. We had a pretty funny exchange of words over that one. I've also played this game with my kids as well, and we've worked really hard to try to understand how cards going next to each other work, and it's actually been a lot of fun trying to deduce where cards should be played so it can be played with kids. Of course, this game is for ages 8 and up, and I have a 9 and a 7-year-old, and we've actually had a pretty good time playing this game. So those are all the different ways to play the game. Now, if you don't want to add the expansions, you can actually make it a little bit tougher by just removing a certain amount of cards. Like I could just start the game by taking out these 6 cards, now making the decks and playing. Now, of course, you don't know what cards were taken out, which of course adds some more challenge to the game. So that's another way to ramp up the difficulty in this game if it wasn't hard enough to try to get a sequential thing from low to high, plus playing a start and finish card without talking or knowing what anybody's discarding. I hope my playthrough has helped you understand exactly what this game is about. And if you have any questions, please visit the Kickstarter page and ask the designers. They would love to answer your questions. Also, feel free to leave comments below, and I'll try to answer them the best I can as well. I hope this helps you make an informed decision on whether to back Tranquility. I've really enjoyed this game. Like I said, my wife and I have had a blast playing it, and I've thanked them for letting me have a chance at being able to demo this for their Kickstarter. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. And if you're excited to see what comes next, then I need you to meet me at the table.